Flights resumed at the Hong Kong airport today after violent clashes between riot police and protesters overnight. The demonstrations in Hong Kong have continued for 10 straight weeks and show no sign of letting up, roiling global markets and fueling investor uncertainty. Javier Hernandez is the China correspondent at the New York Times on the ground there, joins us now by phone. He has been covering the Hong Kong clashes between protesters and the government, or I guess, and law enforcement there. Javier, what is your sense on the ground of where we're at in terms of the recent escalation and whether that will continue to sustain itself and feed upon itself?
Well, I think it's likely that it's going to continue at least for another couple of weeks and even beyond that. There seems to be no middle ground here between the protesters and the government. They seem to be driving each other towards increasingly polarized positions. And for a lot of these protesters, while they have used these extreme tactics, they feel that it's necessary to continue this kind of violent, aggressive streak in order to gain the world's attention.
So, Javier, have you seen any signs in the last very short term, 24 to 36 hours, of things settling down, particularly with the airport opening up again, or is that wishful thinking?
The airport has reopened and flights seem to be running normally, but I think we're still likely to see some sense of tension and violence outside of the airport for the next couple of days. Protesters have mass protests planned, and it seems that these sort of small-scale confrontations between police and protesters are continuing. There was another incident yesterday outside, farther away from the airport, but where protesters clashed with the police and tear gas was fired. And so it's likely to continue this kind of trend of these small-scale confrontations, and I think we're likely to see that kind of activity in the foreseeable future.
China has accused the U.S. and other countries of supporting the protesters. I know yesterday, for example, Chinese officials said no to 2 U.S. Navy ships calling to port in Hong Kong in the coming weeks. Is that actually what's happening, what's playing out on the ground there? What is your sense from the discussions you have been having with protesters?
Well, there's certainly a sense within the mainland that this is all being orchestrated by foreign governments, although they haven't provided any evidence of that. And that's a narrative that they've driven with Beijing's very finely tuned propaganda machine. So there's this disinformation war, I'd say, going on within China to make the public there feel that this is all the work of the United States, which many people see as an enemy now, especially in the midst of these trade tensions. And so that's likely to continue and drive, I think, the mainland toward this sort of nationalistic surge that might put more pressure on the government in Beijing to take a more aggressive approach.
Javier, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Stay safe there.
Thank you.